Hey guys, just for those of you who keep up with my blog, I would like to say a quick apology for being kind of non-present lately. I've been incredibly swamped, but I am making more of a conscientious effort to post more frequently. That's why I'm doing it now. I've got about 5 minutes, but I'm still doing it. I really appreciate the messages from you guys who had, asked why I hadn't been posting lately. So originally I had intended for the topic of this vlog to be about becoming an au pair, and I'm definitely going to be doing that in the coming days as a topic. But after having a girls' night last night, I just kind of felt like changing the topic up to relationships. I figured I would just talk about 3 basic kinds of relationships that I've observed in people and just mention a couple things that I think are really, really important to have in relationships, whether they be platonic or romantic in nature. So first, I think that there are other-oriented relationships. These are the types of relationships in which that person is not in the place to give back to you. They just really, really need to be loved on, and you're going to be the one pouring into them. Those types of relationships are okay temporarily because eventually you're going to have a self-oriented relationship. That's just the converse in which you are the person who's not in the place to give back and they are going to be pouring into you. Then there's my third and favorite type. These are reciprocal relationships. I love reciprocal relationships because they are so rare. In these, essentially, it's just 2 people who are in the places where they are able to just have an interplay and pour back into the other people and just love on them and just, build them up as individuals. And these are really rare, so just hold on to them if you ever find them. The one other thing that I would like to throw in there in regard to the types of relationships is that self-oriented and other-oriented relationships, in my opinion, can be very beneficial and can serve a purpose, but only temporarily. I really don't know that it's healthy to have a consistent long-term relationship that's one-sided. I think that if you're going to have those, again, whether they be platonic or romantic, it's very, very important that they be reciprocally based, because I really just think that it's going to drain you if you're constantly just pouring and pouring and pouring and pouring and pouring, and there's no reciprocity coming back. That doesn't apply to everyone. I've definitely known individuals that they can just give and give and give consistently, and I kind of wonder if it's an endless supply because it just seems like they don't ever really need anything back. But I just think overall it's best to try and, foster relationships that are reciprocally based. What I want to end with is just 3 things that I find to be vital within relationships. These are honesty, communication, and fair fighting. Honesty is just so important within a relationship, and being able to practice radical honesty can just totally revolutionize your relationship. Now, you do have to be honest in a kind and loving way. There's a huge difference between coming with someone with the purpose of just building them up as a person versus coming at them and being honest when you're just trying to break them down. So honesty is key. Being open and congruent is so important. The second thing is having this open line of communication. How are you going to be honest with someone if you can't communicate with someone? I think setting those boundaries early on can be really beneficial if it's a romantic relationship, or just even talking about that as a friendship. Saying, hey, listen, I want you to know that this is an open thing. I want you to be able to come to me and tell me what you're feeling, what you're thinking, what things bother you. So maintaining this open line of communication and making conscientious effort to communicate is another very, very important trait. Lastly is fighting fair. I see so many couples and so many friends who don't fight fairly. You end up attacking each other. You end up triggering each other. I'm not sure if you've ever read Eckhart Tolle's work, but he talks a lot about pain bodies, and each person essentially has a pain body, and this can get triggered by various things. And so I think it's really important if you have a serious relationship to make sure you know what triggers your partner's pain body. Again, even in friendships, know what triggers that, know how to counteract that. And just, fight fairly. Don't attack. I've heard a quote before. It's taste your words before you spit them out. It's a great thing. Don't just vomit on someone. One thing I've noticed a lot of people do is something I like to call dump and dash. essentially that's just when you unload on someone and you just dump on someone when they're not in the place that they can respond. This might be, a situational thing. You're on the way to an event and you just kind of unload it on somebody when they can't respond and they don't have time to do that. Or you do it when they're not in the emotional place. The time to confront someone about something or bring something to their attention is not when they're trying to finish up a work project, or they have a test in the morning, or a meeting, or something that's going to inhibit them from actually being able to think about this. If you're going to bring an issue to someone's attention, you want them to A, have the time to think about it, and B, have the emotional capacity to address it. I guess, and you're not going to have that unless you are communicating with them, unless you can be honest with them, and unless you're fighting fairly and thinking about these things. So that's all I've got for tonight. I've got to get going here. I would love to hear your thoughts, though. Do you think that I'm completely off with these ideas? Are there other types of relationships? Are there other things that are more important than the ones that I mentioned? I didn't really get a chance to address forgiveness. That's a big topic. I might try and do that in a future video. But thanks for keeping up with the blog, and I would love to hear your thoughts. I'll try and post a few links to maybe articles on fighting fairly and forgiveness, stuff like that. And other than that, just stay positive and be present and set your intentions. Have a great night, guys. Bye-bye.